goodness, it is good to be here. I'm Offbeat. We got Nightfire here, and my goodness, we had a blast with Blast On, and now it is time for Ultimechs. Oh, I'm excited.
I mean, what a day so far it has been, Offbeat. I am shocked we're here. It's the end of day one. Ultimechs to wrap it all up with. We got a lot to look forward to here.
We do. It has been a wild debut season for Ultimechs. That is for sure. At the end we had an amazing regional North America finals that we streamed a couple weeks ago with some games that we didn't think would be close, but were tight and down to the wire. Just when we think we've kind of got, it sorted out, we know who's where, teams are still figuring things out, still finding ways to make games interesting. And I'm excited to see what comes out of this. Because these teams have had a couple weeks to prepare now for this.
New strategies, new mech loadouts, maybe a shield, maybe a big wall coming in from a Titan, maybe who knows what we're going to get here. We're going to see double sniper, maybe something unique. I don't know what's going to happen today, and it's what I'm really looking forward to is the unknown of the live environment. These guys live on stage playing in front of you here this afternoon. It's going to be fantastic games.
Yeah. So speaking of that stage, let us set it. We have two teams coming in here, and we'll start with the one that has kind of dominated the regular season. Let's talk Havoc Hellfire, because they come in here. They have one loss technically on their record. It was a forfeit they weren't available for, but functionally undefeated all the way through the regular season.
Crazy. Thought
they would come in and just kind of coast through finals, but they met some stiff competition a couple different times, different teams along the way, and so maybe some chinks in the armor there. Maybe, not quite as perfection as from the legendary line from Iron Man 2. If you can make a god bleed, people will cease to believe in him.
Yeah, they really have been shown that they can be defeated, and so that's what we're going to see this afternoon. Can this Axiom team bring it up against Havoc Hellfire? And if you have been tuning in, we do have two NA teams live on stage today. It's going to be, in some ways, kind of a rehashed NA finals.
Yeah, absolutely. And so on the other side of it, let's talk Axiom, because Axiom, everyone knows they are definitely coming in as the underdog here.
Yeah.
You can't come up against Havoc Hellfire and not be that. But they have been trending in the right direction all season so far here. Their last game against Havoc Hellfire, we were talking about, can they make them bleed? Can they find a chink in the armor?
Right.
Axiom had a very decisive round win over them, and to a final 11-8 scoreline. So by all means, Axiom has been trending in the right direction.
Yep.
And having seen kind of what the Havoc Foodmen did against the Hellfire in the finals, I think there's a lot of film they could take from that, a lot of prep that they could be doing for this game.
Yeah, and I imagine they've done plenty of prep. Stayed in the hotels, got some good rest, watched some video beforehand, done their research. We can expect the best to bring the best this afternoon. And as they're setting up, again, we're just looking forward to this spectacular matchup. It's going to be so great. We're so happy to have so many folks tuning in, both on stream and obviously here at the convention. A big shout out to everyone that's hanging out. Let's get it for these players before they get on stage. We're coming up here soon. Just a couple of minutes away before Axiom and Hellfire duke it out. It's going to be, again, if not maybe the best Ultimechs match we'll be able to put on stage.
Oh, certainly hope so. So fun fact here, we got Axiom running Shays and Crook, who are going to be starting here for them. Havoc Hellfire running The Chosen One and 24, a name you may recognize if you're here in Denver or have been following us on stream all day. 24 here for his second attempt at a championship here at the con. Wasn't able to pull it together for Blast On, but obviously coming in the favorite here, definitely looking to take home a title.
I'm arguing that 24 has the better chance here. I think while they certainly were maybe a favorite in Blast On, I didn't expect them to lose that first match against Test. A great shock, such a great series. We could be have more of that in store for us here today. So sure, we kind of maybe got some faith in 24, some history to work from, but it's all a matter of seeing if they can deliver when it comes down to it, when you're on stage, when that pressure's on, when a crowd is cheering for you. It gets different.
Oh, absolutely. It is a huge difference playing live, because like most of us who are playing VR in these games, we're very used to doing so from our own homes. It's a quiet environment. We hear our teammates in our ears. It is nothing like what comes out here. And we've seen kind of, how pressure affects people in different ways, both, here at this event and, at other, VR lands that have been had kind of, throughout the community. And so it's going to be very interesting to see. There's so many new variables at play that you really can't take anything for granted in these games.
You really can't. And again, just looking forward to getting into our first matchup today. What kind of mechs are we going to get to see here today? For those that maybe don't know, there's multiple different mech options that you can pick from when you jump into the game of Ultimechs. Those mechs have different abilities. Those abilities enable you to score the ball into the goal. That's the end game here. I think the best description that I can really give it, referencing other games, is Rocket League and foosball mixed together.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of those games that is very simple on the surface and has a lot of complexity hidden under the surface. And we'll kind of see it on display here and try and highlight for you what they're doing here, because there are a lot of tiny things that you can do to make a huge difference here.
Yeah.
So when talking about the mechs, the loadouts, we got the three. We have the Viper, we have the Titan, and we have the Nitro.
Yes.
All different, their fists move at different speeds, have different hit power behind it, and then, of course, their final special abilities that can be huge game swingers.
Yeah.
And so, from Havoc Hellfire, they have often seen, the meta seems to have settled on kind of a one Nitro, one Viper, or a two Nitro system.
Yeah.
We've seen a few run the Titan to mixed degrees of success.
Right.
But that's kind of what the meta is looking like right now. I'm interested to see what they come in, and if there's going to be if we see any changes kind of as it progresses.
That's the beauty of the LAN. What are we going to get here? I still see players crouched down, resting, or getting prepared for our first match. Hopefully we'll be diving again into that shortly. We appreciate you all tuning in, hanging out, and enjoying the action so far. I suppose while we have a quick breather, we might as well shout out a couple of sponsors we have, because they've helped bring this convention together. HyperX, obviously a big one. We've been giving away their products all day today to the audience that's been here. So, if you were able to tune into VRML Con, you had your chance. That's some physical merch that you could hold, okay? And so we were giving that away, more of that tomorrow too. So we're really looking forward to more giveaways from HyperX. So a big shout out to them. But we also have a bunch of other sponsors. We have actually a couple of developers here live with booths where they're demoing their games. Joyway, a developer that's developing the game Stack. Kind of a, what's a good description there? A mix of Slingshot and Echo Arena in some ways. I almost feel like it's kind of a combo of Echo Arena and Echo Combat. So I anticipate that booth to be pretty popular tomorrow with the Echo folks playing. But then we also have 11 VR over there, table tennis, developing a new game. You can try all of these if you're here at VRML Con. You can demo these games over in the corner booth right now. It's a huge shout out to them for coming in and sponsoring the event and bringing their games to our audience, showcasing new games to people that are going to be interested in them. I mean, hey, Echo Arena isn't going to have a game in 2 months. Don't shed any tears, okay? It's all right.
Saving them all for tomorrow, don't you worry.
Oh, gosh, yeah, there will be plenty for sure. Maybe some tears on stage here, too, depending on who wins or loses. Yeah. But, certainly a decent amount on the line. Again, it looks like we're just having some tech issues, unfortunately, with one of our players on one of the teams. Hopefully we can get that sorted for you shortly, and we will be back into the action. But a few others, this doesn't come together from 4 sponsors, right? Yeah. This is a big concerted effort. Grapevine Media is actually out here. They're capturing footage of the event. We're going to edit that all together for a fantastic hype reel. So if you didn't get to come to the convention, you will get a pretty good perspective of what it was like here for our players, the audience, the folks that are getting so many signatures signed. I've signed a couple of shirts myself already. I guess maybe what's the oddest thing you signed so far today? There's a couple of oddities out there.
Yeah, I've seen some pretty fun 3D printed Echo discs floating around. Yeah. Don't know where all those came from.
I know.
But they're pretty neat, and I've gotten to sign 1 or 2 of those, and that's been fun. And I'm pretty sure other souvenir hunters have been leaving with locks of my hair after last night's little adventure.
Yeah, you did have to trim off that long hair. It looks fantastic for our Ultimechs finals, so no harm, no foul. Honestly, dare I say it looks a little better.
Thank you. The wife says it's acceptable.
Okay,
but I think she also didn't necessarily see it when it was all dressed up fancy.
Yeah,
I think it fits the suit.
Yeah,
really
it really does. It comes together. It's a nice look. Grapevine Media, again, coming in, helping us out, driving in a lot of fantastic footage. Again, you can see that live later once we edit it and put it together. And then also Between Realities here. You've seen them on stage a couple of times. Alex jumped up there and has done a couple of interviews. They're going to be podcasting tomorrow over in the corner. We're hopeful to have some folks over there that are going to be sweeping through for interviews. And so you can actually potentially catch that live over at Between Realities. And so there's a lot going on here.
Yeah.
Okay, there's a lot going on here, and I think there may finally be some games going on here soon enough behind us as we do start to get ready into the lobby. The players getting prepared. What are the mechs here today? What are we bringing to the table? That's the question of the afternoon as we get ready to load in to this first round. Should be moments away as, yeah, we are again. You can see the players behind me here, and we're getting ready to dive into the action.
Yep. Havoc Hellfire in orange. Axiom will be on blue. And we are ready to get things underway. The ball is in the air. We are live. And we'll get you a game there in a second. As soon as we get together, there we are.
Okay, we have a camera.
Havoc Hellfire stepping in first here, as we'll find that action for you. Don't worry. 24 and Chosen One. Havoc Hellfire running that very aggressive stance that we see them all the time. They like to play very aggressive, try to keep that pressure up and not let their opponents get any room. And there they are with the first points. Havoc Hellfire grabbing that early lead, 22 seconds in.
An early lead, starting things off. The favorite of the afternoon coming out and surprising, well, not surprising, I suppose, sticking true to form as they open things up nicely. And now we get into, again, another brawl for possession where we do see Axiom pushing up nicely on the attack, but here comes the push from the Chosen One. They're playing a little bit more conservatively now. They got themselves a 1-point lead. They don't need to drive this past the midfield, honestly, but the risk is if you don't, then the attacking team can push in, and here comes the push from Shays in particular. Crook up in the front line. Both of these players rotating back and forth, an interesting thing you don't often see. Usually you have 1-point attacker that's really hitting that ball.
Yeah. Absolutely, and we can see both teams here running with one Titan, or with one Nitro and one Viper, as Havoc Hellfire moving into a dangerous position here, trying to get that up in front of the goal. That is going to get cleared away from Axiom for now, and they will get that out. Shays leading the charge out of the zone, and Crook doing some excellent support there. We can see that both Crook and 24 have those power-ups, so watch out for those Hyper Strikes from long range. There's always a danger. The Hyper Strike does come in from Crook, but that will go wide, and Havoc Hellfire gets away from that one without giving up a point, and looks to counter-attack here, but 24 can't keep it in the zone. No worries, Chosen One is there with backup, and they're keeping the pressure on here.
If you're tuning in, you're just trying to figure out what are you looking at. You want to be focusing on those trails from the fists. Those are the players shooting their fists out at the ball, trying to connect with that ball and push it into the goal. Almost a 2-pointer there. You get it into that small goal, it's 2 points. You get it into the lower goal, it's 1 point.
Yeah, absolutely. Havoc Hellfire trying to put this in from range. Crook still holding on to that Hyper Strike, potentially trying to, line up a good angle, because, the way Havoc Hellfire plays really aggressively, they do potentially open themselves up for those long shots across the arena because they can't get back in time. As the Nitro is going to get used, it's not going to be able to stay in. That explosion will not put it in, but they are in a dangerous position here. 24 puts it in for the 2 points, and a 3-0 lead for Havoc Hellfire.
We can turn left and right and get to see the joy and expressions on their faces, or the disappointment in a 2-pointer getting locked in like that. 3-point lead here in game number 1. Each game 4 minutes in a best-of-7 series. So the first team to 4 rounds is going to take the VRML Con Championship here this afternoon. And so, hey, Havoc Hellfire starting off nicely here. Minute 30 left for our first match, and that's plenty of time. Axiom has some time to work in a couple of goals.
Yeah, well, it's not like they haven't had any chances here, right? Sometimes when Havoc Hellfire has kind of gone off on a team, it's been very dominant with, no counterattacks the other way. But Axiom has been doing there. They've been doing a decent job of stopping Havoc Hellfire on occasion. That being said, moving in here, Havoc Hellfire, they're keeping up some pressure, and there it is! Chosen One this time is going to get on the board there. 4-0 the lead, 3 minutes in to this opening round, and a nice, almost comfortable lead now for Hellfire in round 1. I say almost.
Almost. Yeah. 2-goal lead technically, so things can happen in a matter of minute, really. And, hey, we got 1 minute left. on the board here. So these teams battling for possession up through the midfield, trying to push down into the attacking zone of Havoc Hellfire. Almost goes into the corner, bounces around to the side, nearly goes in for the 2, floating just a bit high over to the other corner from side to side as we work our way back down into the attack. Potentially, yes, Havoc Hellfire continuing to try and push this ball forward into the zone of Axiom.
Yeah, that they will, and we can see with these players at this top tier, that ball almost never hits the ground. One of the best ways to get some acceleration from the Hyper Strike from 24 is going to miss. 24 will be out without a hand for a little bit of time here, so potential chance for Axiom to move up. They do it, they're putting out the goal. 24 can't get to it. The missed Hyper Strike comes back to bite him, and Axiom on the board. It might be too late to turn it around here, but every little point helps here in trying to swing the momentum, because the momentum swings in this game can be so huge.
Well, especially when you're considering a best of 7, you got multiple rounds after of this, a solid win coming into the books for Havoc Hellfire, but Axiom have shown again that the Titan can bleed, that they can cut Havoc Hellfire. They can break through what is arguably a very solid defensive wall from that Hellfire team, and game 1 into the books.
Yeah, Havoc Hellfire stepping out strong with that early game, bringing in, their signature pressure, trying to keep it in the zone, keep it up, and we saw kind of how that could be exploited back the other way, right? Yeah. Axiom got their goal from long range, and so if they're able to keep that solid defensive front, stop Havoc Hellfire from getting it in a dangerous position, to the middle, into that spot in front of the goal, they've got a good chance here. They've got a strategy that we've seen it work once. They just got to be able to get it more consistently and find a way to keep Havoc out of the middle of the arena.
Not an easy task ahead of them by any means, but we'll see if the Axiom squad is up for it again, coming off of a little momentum off of that last round, snagging a goal. Should be going in pretty quickly to our next round, hopefully, but barring any tech difficulties, which, hey, we're live on stage. Anything can happen. But I think we're going to be jumping in to our next round here soon enough. Yeah, the flow is good here. We're going to be right into game to game to game, and frankly, they're only 4 minutes. You know, so it does. You are jumping in and jumping out of these games pretty quick. So looking forward to round 2. Should be getting in there shortly. But again, we are at a bit of a pause here. So what do we think? Is there any changes that they're going to make to their mech loadout? Is there any swaps that are going to help Axiom here overcome the Havoc Hellfire Mountain?
See, it's very tricky in that regard, because if you are going to go and make swaps like that, to swap your mech, it changes your whole team dynamic. Even if it's only one of you switching it up, these teams practice a lot with a very specific set to get as good as they can with that set. Yeah. And so to change things up this early, I don't think we'd be seeing anything this early. If we were to see anything, it would come after, second or third lost here in a best of 7, since, that's kind of what we would be, it's kind of at the point we realize, okay, what we have isn't working, and we're going to need to take a risk to try something out.
See the updated score line there. It's backwards, but that's okay. Havoc Hellfire coming out with a solid 4-1 lead here on round 1. And again, just prepping for round 2. I see players ready on stage looking for the gameplay to begin. Everyone seemingly ready to hop in, so we should be jumping in to our next round shortly. Again, appreciate everyone tuning in, hanging out, enjoying the action here today. It's been a long day. We're here. We're over. Today's not even a long day. Tomorrow's the long one, right? We're starting 9 a.m. PST, or I guess not PST, Central, right? Where are we?
Mountain
time. Thank you. Shouted from the stands. 9 p.m. Mountain time. So a.m. Sorry, 9. Gosh, I'm all over the place. 9 a.m. PST Mountain Time. We'll be starting tomorrow. That will be actually live over at twitch.tv/Echo Arena_VRML. Yeah. So not here on this channel. If you do want to catch the Echo Arena action tomorrow, you're going to want to head over there, twitch.tv/Echo Arena_VRML. Stay right here if you want to catch the Ultimechs action that's coming up in a few moments here. Round 2 should be starting shortly.
Absolutely. It's going to be exciting here. And do not forget to stick around after this. Today still, we will be having the medal presentations for both the Blaston and Ultimechs champions. And we are underway here in round 2. Havoc Hellfire with that opening tip-off. They are going to get some early pressure here. Chosen One keeping that front line. 24 back in support. 24 working that support line. Will keep it into the zone, but Crook doing an excellent job to turn this one back around. And Axiom vying for some position here. Won't last long. The Chosen One with a good couple hits up the middle, will not get to the goal as Crook and Shays both back there to stop a quick explosion opening from Hellfire.
This is the key moment. We're talking game 2, a tough loss from Hellfire. If Axiom can come out here strong in game 2, they are going to set themselves up for a best of 7. We are going to set ourselves up for a solid back and forth. If Hellfire come out of the gate swinging here, if we see another 4-1, I have a feeling we might be destined to be over in 4 games. With how Havoc's playing right now, they are focused, they are connecting, and they're keeping the offensive pressure going here as that 2 connects just a touch high, and there it is. Chosen One finds themselves the first point for Havoc Hellfire.
Yeah, one of the things about this game, if you're not super familiar with it, is if you succeed in hitting that ball, your fist is returning to your hand so much faster than if you miss. And so if you can keep that pressure up, hit after hit after hit, it can be very hard for the defense to recover and to, get it out of the zone. Here's why Havoc Hellfire is able to, keep that consistent momentum up in the zone. And so from the side of Axiom, they got to be looking at, even if we can't clear it out of the zone, how do we get it out of the middle? How do we get it towards the sideline where they can't keep threatening this? The hyper strike, not even aiming directly for the goal, gets the bank off the ceiling. My goodness, Havoc Hellfire, slow start, doesn't matter because in the mid game here, they are thriving.
24 is enjoying putting on a show, throwing the hands up in the air to the crowd, trying to get them excited for their game right now. They are looking to take a championship. I mean, this is 24's second chance, right? They tried in Blast On. They're here looking for a win in Ultimechs, and they are looking good. 3-0 lead. Again, we're destined for a similar scoreline as game 1. 2 minutes left, though. Plenty of time for Axiom to string something together as they get onto the attack, push to the midfield, and back on the attack. Goes Havoc Hellfire, keeps the ball, juggles it in the air for the 2. A fantastic play.
The Chosen One coming in solid. Another long-range goal. And yeah, whatever Hellfire has going right now, it is cooking. Long shot back from Axiom, though. There's the answer they needed as we cross that 2-minute. A 2-on-1 opportunity when they're destroyed for a bit.
Still there.
We'll see if they start shifting towards that a little more, depending how
A 1v2 can't quite do it. 24 will respawn, or excuse me, Chosen will respawn, and we're back to the 2v2. That 1v2 power play, not able to get capitalized on by Axiom, but they're still keeping a decent offensive pressure. We're talking about momentum, like we talked about last round. They managed to at least score some points in the back 2 minutes.
Yeah. Well, and that they did. Like, if we were counting last goal wins, Axiom would be up 2-0 right now.
Yeah.
As is, round will not officially end until that ball hits the ground or hits the goal. And why not? Axiom will put this one in from long range, as that is going to do it. 5-3 is the final here of this one. Oh my goodness, Crook with six shots on goal.
Yeah.
Axiom, in terms of, turning this around to get some offensive pressure and, make it less of just Havoc owning the zone time, big steps forward here.
Yeah, no kidding. A still, however, solid win for Havoc Hellfire. They go up 2-0 in this best of 7. So 2 more games for them in their pocket, and they will be advancing. Well, there's no more. This is it. They won and done. There is no advancement. They will be crowned our VRML Con champions, and it's all a matter of finding out how these next few rounds go. Again, the pace, pretty good flow. We should be hopping in to round 3 pretty soon. These players shouldn't have a lot of time to breathe, and that's kind of how they almost like it seems. They want to get right back into that action. They want to keep the momentum going like we're talking about. They want, especially as Axiom now, to replicate those first 2 minutes. They want, because if they do, they're up 2-0. Yep. They just have to replicate those back 2 minutes that they had in that last round, and then they are putting, it's a puzzle. It's got to come together for this Axiom team, and maybe the LAN will give them the pieces they need. That's kind of what it's about, to see if these teams can overcome the adversity of playing live on stage in front of an audience, and so far, Havoc Hellfire is certainly proving they can do it.
Yeah, that they are. One of the very interesting things about this game, especially coming off of the heels of Blaston is an immensely physical game. Whole body, it wears you out. I play Blaston mainly as exercise, a way to help keep in shape. This one, and so you need the breaks in between there to kind of, help your body recover, get your breath back, get hydrated. This game, while still taxing a different way, this is a very, very tight, precision-based game. Yeah. You need those reflexes, you need that muscle memory. And that is why, usually with Ultimechs, you don't see teams wanting to take large breaks, because we can see kind of, especially with Axiom here, how they've been getting better and better. Yeah. It's because their muscles are in place. They've got the muscle memory there kind of propelling them, and so they do not want to get cold, especially that when it comes down to, probably the raw, the raw abilities, like who's going to come out even in, in both coming in cold. Yeah, Havoc Hellfire has the advantage in that regard. And so if you've got something working with as Axiom, you want to keep that going as much as you possibly can. Yeah, you really do. And again, their accuracy is looking good. You almost want to kind of think about it like a shooter or something, where you really do want to be accurate with each of your shots. And it's not something we talk about a lot, the accuracy of someone and how they're able to connect with those fists. So should be exciting to see. I mean, frankly, we're seeing great accuracy here this afternoon. It's what we'd expect with players live on a stage. I mean, they deserve this position. They're here for a reason, because they're the best at the game of Ultimechs, and we get to see them play live on stage. A fantastic series unfolding before us so far. Maybe the climb back for Axiom. They nearly that was almost 4-3. No, excuse me, 5-4. They almost had a 2-pointer there. Yeah. And so you're 1 point behind. You're in the game. It's right there. It's just within reach. Who's to say that Axiom won't perform well here in round 3 as we get ready to dive in? Yeah. Rounds, break between rounds kept reasonably short. Here we are, ready for it. You can see those fists coming in anticipation of the ball, and there it goes. It is going to be Havoc Hellfire getting the first piece of that and moving this up the zone. Axiom trying to keep this one to the sideline, but Havoc Hellfire, they've succeeded in getting to the mid. Chosen One trying to get the flick on it, doesn't quite time it, and will actually end up pushing it to the side, helping Axiom clear this one out, but not cleared all the way out here. Chosen One getting a couple good flicks. It's up, it's dangerous in front of the zone, but not able to put this one in. Watch out, because Crook has that hyper strike, so keep an eye out for something long range here from Axiom if they want to see if they can strike first. It's all about these early minutes. It's all about having the first point, because that seems to be what Havoc Hellfire are capitalizing on, being the first to score. If Axiom, again, can replicate the final 2 minutes, come up with a 2-0 lead here at the start of this round, they're looking fantastic, especially in a series this competitive. You can't rely on big leads, and a shot fly. There's the snipe coming in from Crook on the backside. Axiom, for the first time at VRML Con, take a lead. That they do. That was some solid pressure. Shays pushing up the right, and Crook there to pick up the pieces on the left side. That's why you never give up. But in Havoc Hellfire looking to try and push this one back and answer. They had some good pressure, but Shays, an excellent work on defense when Crook holding steady in that goal. Got to keep an eye out here because they want to keep this one away from the middle. Chosen One trying to push that mid lane. Will going to get this one, throwing it down to a goal. No! Crook with an excellent read, gets the fist, gets the reaction, and keeps that one off the line. So close in for the midfield joust here. We saw the miss snipe on the back end coming in from 24, but they have it again in their pocket, so you have to watch at any point where that ball crosses in front of the goal. They could have a long-range shot come through, a power shot from 24 that connects with that ball and forces it into the goal. They don't need it there. It's all touches coming in from Chosen One. Tie game 1-1. Yeah, 24 unleashes that hyper strike anyways, because why not? You don't get to keep it after a goal. And we are locked at 1. We knew Havoc Hellfire wasn't going to go anywhere without a fight, and they have indeed locked it back up. And so now it's time to see how Shays and Crook answer back. Keep an eye out for those power-ups spawning, because they are not staying out long. There it was, pops up. Shay's going to pick that one up on the back line. And we'll have it here as they look to try and push this now. Chosen One, though, being a little annoying, keeping in the zone. Shays will use that to try and force this one into the Havoc Hellfire zone, but it's not going to stick, and now Shays has to play defense with one hand against the Chosen One. Crook gets back, and Crook will help salvage that one and get it one clear.
Solid hold coming in from Crook and Shays as they prevent that ball from going in. Havoc Hellfire so close to breaking this scoreline, so close to getting another lead, taking us ever closer to that 4-game victory. That's what they want to do to this Axiom squad. Axiom says, no, we're here. We flew all the way out off B. We need more time on stage. And so they're fighting for a chance to at least get another game. They want at least 5 here, and maybe they can do it as they push in for another attack.
Yeah, absolutely. Havoc Hellfire almost struggling with success at this point. They've never had to play defense for most of the season. And so when Axiom's coming into the zone here, they've been having some decent chances, and they've been, when the chances haven't connected, it's been more because Axiom just wasn't able to get that last hit more than Havoc Hellfire, you know, got a big hit on it and got the full clear. As we're now 1 minute left, still that 1-1 scoreline, looking like this next goal, wherever it comes from, is going to be very decisive. That one hits between the goal and the super goal. No points for that one, unfortunately. And the Hyperstrike comes in. That one misses. Chances both ways.
When we say miss snipe, we're talking about these long lines, these lasers that you're seeing coming out. Those are the power-ups coming from Crook and 24, respectively. When those long lines connect with that ball, it projects it forward rapidly. It's a very fast shot. It's how you push that ball in to the goal. And so it's all about lining your mech up to have the proper angle so you can shoot the straight line into the ball to push it. It's like playing pool.
Yeah, it's exactly that. And so then you got to be dangerous. You got to be careful because a lot of teams, you know, they really want to use it to score. But then if you get scored on, it's too late. You lose it anyways. As we are counted down here, there's a dangerous spot right in the middle of the field. Chosen One dribbling it, trying to keep it up. 24 pushing all the way up as it counts down. Won't end until the ball hits the ground. And even then we might go to overtime. No! Shays clears it off the line. And the Hyperstrike misses. What a play. Getting it just in time. We're headed to overtime.
Our first overtime of VRML Con, dare I say not our last, as we dive in. The first to score takes the round. That's how overtime works here. We could be here for a couple of minutes at this rate. We've been 1-1 for a while now, so we'll have to see who can come out and get this first point and only point that matters here in round 3. A big push for Chosen One. 24 on the back end, picks up the super. They have that snipe available, and it gets defended by Chosen. They headbutt it out of the way. They're there just in time. They get their mech in position. Maybe almost a second later they would have had that goal done, but now they're back on the attack. Power-ups on the backside. 24 and Chosen picking them up. They're ready to attack.
Yeah, that they are moving in towards the zone, trying to get it out in front. Not succeeding so far. Chosen One tries to make it off the ceiling to himself. Won't work. Will get cleared in here as they try the other sideline. Pushing back and forth. Not able to connect, and I think they'll accidentally knock that one back on their own. Shays here trying to keep it in the zone. Crook given support. They will do so successfully. Chosen One and 24 still waiting for that. Trying to see if they can't get out the zone, but no! It comes in. I believe that was the Hyperstrike coming in from Crook. Axiom taking a round off of the NA champs. My goodness. Crook leading the way there with 6 shots on that offensive effort. 2-1 is the series score now.
We're in for another one. It wasn't 4 and done. I'll stand corrected on my predictions. But hey, I'm happy for it. You take me to 7, and well, that's what we're here for. We're here to see good quality gameplay on stage. That's the second time that Havoc Hellfire have lost, Offbeat.
Yeah, that it is, and it's fun. I feel like if you're Axiom, you're coming in here as the underdogs. Getting that first win is like, hey,
yeah.
We might have something here.
Yep.
And so excellent work coming in. And we kind of talked early, or at least how we've seen many teams kind of approach this, is, you know, trying to get those long-range transition goals against Havoc Hellfire. But that's not what we've been seeing here. If we can take a look at Axiom's stats, we can kind of see that they've been doing this with zone time and with some continued pressure. And it seems like, you know, Havoc, whether for, you know, not having as much time back there, they haven't been able to get it cleared out of the zone nearly as efficiently as Axiom have when they've been on the defensive side. Just because there's been so much, less of it for them. And so I'm very interested to see how that dynamic plays out here as we continue into rounds 4 and beyond.
The Axiom team on stage, shirts representing the squad. They're in uniform. They're here to battle. They're looking for more games on the plate. They want more. They need more. We've had 3 in the pocket. We're looking at round 4 here as we get ready to dive back into the action. Guaranteed 5 rounds today, off beating this best of 7. Let's see how this one shakes out as we get in to our 4th round.
Yep, sticking with that same mechs, got a Nitro and a Viper on each side. Nitro, of course, being slightly heavier, kind of the middle of the pack mech. Decent fist speed, decent power here as Havoc tries to set this one up in the mid. Won't be able to do so successfully. Here comes that counterattack from Axiom. Crook has the Hyper Strike, so watch out for that. As soon as Crook can line that one up, you know they're going to be trying to put that one in as they move it into the zone. The potentially a dangerous spot is sitting loose, but Crook can't line it up as they'll try and push it one up the right side. 30 seconds in, still waiting for a first goal, but Axiom with some solid pressure here.
Yeah, Crook is connecting. They are accurate on their touches, and they're able to keep this pressure forward. Again, we're interestingly not seeing any focus on combat. I would say in the NA finals in particular, we saw a lot of it. That is, that bounced off Shays, I think, and went in. Oh, what a terrible way to have a point get scored against you.
Yeah, especially in the games like this where, everyone's so good at making contact with that ball. The ball almost never settles to the ground. And yes, you can get a lot of speed and your mech can interact with the ball. But we don't see it too much of this ring. Oh my goodness. Havoc, Hellfire answering back, Chosen One, slapping that one down, getting a little wrist flick to knock it down into the super goal, and rewarded with a quick second score here, 3 points on the board.
Very quick, 3 points in 1 minute's time. This Hellfire team coming off of a loss, looking hungry for another win. They want to go right into series point after this. They don't want to mess around with it. 24 again on the hunt for a title here at VRML Con. It doesn't matter if it's a Blast On or Ultimechs. They're pursuing it this afternoon, and they're doing it as they have the lead here, approaching the 2-minute mark of round 4. Another shot goes wide.
Yeah, any path to glory 24 will take. As this gets sent all the way in, 2 fists going in, both are going to miss as Havoc Hellfire turns this one around quickly. Good defensive effort, but they're going to have to get this off to the side as 24 banks it off the ceiling, down into the goal, and Havoc Hellfire continues to roll.
That's Pool. You forget about the roof. You can bounce off the roof. You can shoot that laser to force the ball to send itself up off the roof, down into the goal. Another big shot attempt, this time from Axiom. Maybe they just like coming from behind. They like having that 4-0 disadvantage. They like having to push forward here. I'm not sure, but they are seemingly playing better in the back 2 minutes of almost every round.
Yeah, that they are. And so that's the problem here that they've, fallen to that deficit, right? That's the 4-0 spread right now, and a dangerous opportunity. They are able to get this one cleared, but right now, Havoc seems full in control. Another one trying to bank it off the ceiling. That one won't connect. They've still got some pressure. Crook working overtime to try and get that one off the back line, and will do so, getting it down. But they're not able to follow it down quick enough. Havoc Hellfire is back. They're in position. They're up tight to the ball and able to just turn it back on a dime and are rewarded with another score, 5-0 now.
Yeah, looking good here in round 4. They've got I would almost say guaranteed lead. You really have to push this up to 3 goals, and then that's going to be a huge challenge for Axiom to overcome. 3 goal, you're asking for maybe too much, especially if Hellfire are still going to defend like they're doing right now, preventing Axiom from being able to break through this front wall that they're able to put up when they have a lead. Then they push that wall forward and eventually just keep squishing and squishing into Axiom until they eventually have points on the board.
Yeah, and that's pretty much been their gimmick all season. The Hyper Strike misses, but the Chosen One cares not. Puts that one in through the left side of the goal and extends it to 6. Why not? Fun fact, we don't see it too often here, but the mercy rule is at 10 points. A 10-point spread would call it. I mean, I wouldn't say that normally, but I mean, Havoc Hellfire seems like a team possessed at the moment.
They're looking good, and we talk about momentum. What a comeback for this team after a tough loss. Maybe looking at, are we in for a long road here? They say, no, we're not. We're not in for a long road. We're in for 2 more games, and then we're out of here. We're taking this victory, and they're looking, again, very good here in this 4th round. 6-0 lead nonetheless, 4 away from a mercy. Don't think it's going to happen in 25, and if anything, Axiom need to put up solid. defense. I stand corrected. Maybe it is going to happen at 25. A two-pointer could come in. We could be on the cusp of a mercy here at VRML Con.
That was a wild bounce up into the goal. We see often, either straight on or knocking it down in for that super goal, but getting the flick up, I don't know if that was an odd bounce or something, but they will take it. 13 seconds left on the clock. Havoc Hellfire will fairly comfortably move up into a 3-1 series lead, which would be enough in the regular season, but here at the con, nothing is regular, and we are going all the way to the best of 7, so they got one more to take, but this means only one game now will stand between Havoc Hellfire and that VRML Con Championship.
They want a little extra time on the stage. Okay, they need to keep the ball elevated. It's like playing that balloon game where you keep the balloon in the air as long as you can. They're going for maybe a record at this stage where they just need to keep juggling it as it gets pushed away. It's still in the air. The ball doesn't stop. The round doesn't end until that ball hits the ground. And both teams don't want it to hit the ground. They're keeping it up still, looking for how many times can we go around?
Yeah.
That's the question. How many laps can we send ourselves for around the arena as this thing stays elevated? 38 seconds. At this stage, I feel like they're trying to do it. 40 seconds and it hits the ground.
Because normally, in a normal game, you're watching this, it's coming in, and one team wants to ground it because they're winning, and the other team wants to keep it alive because they need to score to tie. But here, Havoc wants the mercy, and Axiom wants at least one goal.
Yep.
And so we get this, which is a fun display of dexterity from both teams. Chances on both ends multiple times. Yeah, we did like at least 2 full laps of the arena there.
Yeah, we did. That was a from round losses. They don't let that hurt them mentally. And 6-0 coming off of a loss, that is 8-0, sorry. Yeah, they got the 2-pointer at the end there. That is a heck of a way to take round 4. And I wonder what Axiom's thinking now as we get ready for what is the series point for Havoc Hellfire. Potentially the last game of the afternoon, of the day for us here on the desk, but also for these players. We're on the cusp.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, like last time these teams played, this game can bounce very much. It's very swingy.
Yeah.
Where, they came out with, when Axiom took their round, right, they exploded to a 6-0 win last time these teams played back in May. The answers back and forth here are very, very momentum swingy, in a kind of a per match basis. And so that's why the first 30 seconds, first minute of this round here are going to be immensely important. We've seen how much it can kind of start to waterfall and just roll and get out of control. So they got to come in here and they got to start strong.
Round 5 kicking off, the series point for Havoc Hellfire. These first 2 minutes are huge. The first 30 seconds are massive. No power-ups on either side. All about the accuracy, and the accuracy comes in for Havoc Hellfire. They take the 1-0 lead in the first 7 seconds.
Yeah, Havoc Hellfire usually likes going above the goal and, knocking it down through that pressure. But instead here, keeping that solid momentum up the left side and just sort of overwhelming the goalie down that side. 4 fists on 2. I mean, it's tough to do, and they do so successfully here, and that's the big lead. We heard the big opening score we were talking about as Havoc Hellfire looking for blood right now, as this could be the final match here on stage today.
So close, but we could have more. Axiom, a 1-0 deficit is nothing. They can easily come back from this. They can get the momentum. We've seen comebacks happen, and it's not impossible. They win this round, they win 2 more, they take the championship. So let's see what Axiom can put together here now, because their backs are quite literally against the wall. They couldn't get any further against the wall right now.
I just noticed Havoc Hellfire is running double Titans.
Oof. And they've taken the 1-0 lead. The snipe comes in, misses wide there. A double Titan shield. There's one. Almost goes in on the cusp. There it comes in with the follow-up. A 2-0 lead for Havoc Hellfire. They're clearly feeling confident here.
Yeah, for those of you not familiar with the meta, Titan is one that's not run a lot, at least not in conjunction with other Titans, definitely. The ability they have is...
Maybe it is. Maybe this is a new meta we're seeing being pioneered live right now on stage. The double Titan coming through. It's working against Axiom here, and they frankly got a score. They got a point off of that first wall. So who's to say 2 doesn't get them what they need? They're looking good here. This Hellfire squad back on the offensive.
Yeah, that they are. It's going to get turned around here. The one thing, you get a lot of power in your
from Axiom here. They are working so hard to keep the pressure onto Hellfire's side, not let this ball get anywhere near their goal. But again, to your point, breaking through double Titans, that's a heck of a challenge. Those are 2 defensive mechs designed to push that ball away from your goal. How are they going to get up to the goal is the question I have for Axiom now.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. They're going to have to adapt a little bit of what they're doing here, change things up to maybe, you
can't change. You got to win. You just got to execute at this stage. They just have to find the goals they need. And these missed snipes, these missed supercharges, that's what's hurting them right now.
Oh, absolutely. Well, what I was saying about changing is usually Havoc Hellfire's bread and butter is that ceiling play, the juggles to keep it in there. And so if you're Axiom right now, that's where you have the advantage because you've got the quicker fists. You can keep that one balanced up in the air a little better. The Hyperstrike comes in, but 24 is too quick on that. Will get it cleared out of the way as Axiom still yet to get a point here in this round. Havoc Hellfire putting up metaphorical and literal walls on that back end.
I really appreciate Hellfire bringing in this meta shakeup at the end of the season. Okay, we don't see this now perpetrating throughout. Instead, it's Hellfire potentially taking their championship here this afternoon. We're 30 seconds away, Offbeat.
Yeah, and there is one more, and that puts it from a 1-goal game to a 2-goal game. 24 spurned by the Blast On Finals is here and is ready to take this one home. Just got to hold it for another 22 seconds, and they will be sitting pretty with that under their belts.
What a performance so far. Axiom, halftime, still on the attack, pushing this ball forward, looking for any points, and I love that out of them. They're not giving up. They're on the hunt. They're continuing to pursue. They're putting their best foot forward live on stage. But I'll tell you what, that best foot forward was not enough to defeat Havoc Hellfire as they will be crowned our VRML Con champions.
Ladies and gentlemen, the chosen one, 24, Havoc Hellfire, putting on a display here, continuing that dominance that they were showing all season. They had some hiccups, but when the chips came down, they were up to the challenge. They recovered from their mishaps. They bounced back. They have earned that win.
What a stellar victory for this team. We're seeing the players now reconnect, shake hands, great sportsmanship from them. We should be jumping over to get their perspective soon here. Between Realities, a big shout out to them, bringing Alex. We'll see him on stage soon enough. But let's get our thoughts off, B, real quick. A fantastic series.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, Axiom came in here knowing they had a tall order, and I think right now, honestly, they came in and they put on a good show.
Yeah.
Like, Havoc Hellfire had some runs, but that's kind of what they were. They were runs, right? They were, and we talked about, how momentum spirals. I think if you look at that 8-0 round, there's not a ton separating a 4-0 round from an 8-0 round. It's just, how soon that run started, right?
Yep.
And so when we look at kind of holistically what they were able to do here, with a couple of, long comebacks, they won this 3-2 in last goal wins. They were so good in that back end early on. It was really up until Havoc Hellfire kind of tightened up and was able to run a full end-to-end game that they kind of were able to come out on top here.
It looks like we should be ready to send the interview over to our stage, so I'll hand it over to Alex from Between Realities.
for preparing those first few months. And since then, it's mostly been coasting, if I'm being honest.
Is there anything that you decided to do differently going into this tournament that would maybe be different from like a typical day of playing the game or training?
Well, this time we do 2 Titans just for the people, the Ultimechs community. Usually we never run that. It's kind of just for like the memes, just for fun, and it turned out okay. So.
Yeah, it didn't seem to really hold you up at all. If there's anyone out there who's maybe interested in getting involved in this game and maybe trying to get to the level that you guys have managed to attain playing Ultimechs, what would you say is a big difference maker going from being an amateur to a professional?
I'm going to be honest, the only thing it really takes is time. Like, you just need to get it down, get your hits down, make sure you can aim accurately, and just get everything. And all it did was take time for us. There's not too much like specific strategy you need to learn. You just need to be dedicated, be competitive, try your best every match.
Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I would agree.
Awesome. 24, chosen one. Congratulations, you guys. Havoc, Hellfire, your champions for Ultimechs. Give it up for VRML Con 2023. Thank you guys so much again, and congrats.
Yeah.
Yeah, hats off to Havoc Hellfire. We're going to go to a brief intermission. When we come back, we're going to be giving these winners their medals live on stage. We're almost done with the day, but not yet. A few more minutes and then we will be, so stick around. The medal ceremony coming up.
Welcome back, everybody, to our final awards ceremony for today. Thank you to everyone who came, participated, played, watched from home, watched live from Denver, Colorado, for sure. Here we are presenting our first place medal to Tesseract. Tesseract, congratulations, first place in Blast On VRML Season 2. Can we please get a round of applause? Round of applause, please. And what a nice looking medal. that is.
And the game you just saw, ladies and gentlemen, in the inaugural season of Ultimechs VRML, they won the North America Finals, and they have emerged victorious here again at VRML Con. Ladies and gentlemen, Havoc Hellfire!
2-4, 2-4, 2-4, 2-4.
Oh my goodness, everyone, thank you so much for being here with us live and on stream. It has been an absolute blast. There is day 2 coming up tomorrow. Huge shout out. We are here, we're the beautiful faces, but there is so much going on behind the scenes to make this happen. Thank you so much to our amazing production crew, to all of our fantastic sponsors. You can see them running there. We got another Axiom, Great Find, Rebuff Reality, HyperX, of course, stepping in huge here. There's an immense list. You will see them here around the venue. Go talk to them, go see what they've got, because they have done a ton to help make this happen for us and for all of us. So thank you so much to everyone there. I am Offbeat, and for the rest of our crew, for all of our players here today, thank you so much for being here. We will see you again tomorrow.